that there's a huge admission which has been made by Vladimir Putin on the Azerbaijan plane crash, but has he admitted? Well, that we have to wait and watch, because he's apologized but not really admitted. We have to go ahead and go to some more breaking updates coming in. A plane caught fire Sunday night at a southern South Korean airport after its landing gear malfunction. The emergency office says the office said that the fire was put out and rescue officials were trying to remove passengers from the plane at the airport to the South Korean city of Muan. It said more than 170 people were aboard the plane. Yonhap news agency reported the Jeju Air flight plane veered off the runway and collided with a fence. It said the plane was returning from Bangkok. So this is the update we are getting for you right now. Okay, so those are pictures coming in from South Korea. This is at a South Korean airport after its landing gear malfunctioned, and you can see that the fire was put out and passengers are being removed from the plane at the airport. Around 170 people were aboard the plane. Yonhap news agency has reported a Jeju Air flight plane veered off the runway and collided with a fence. It said the plane was returning from Bangkok. So this is the update that we're getting for our viewers right now on Republic TV, and we are live this morning. Those pictures are coming in. We'll try to go across to our reporters as well and correspondents to understand what really happened. But the plane has caught fire at the airport. South Korea is the location you can see. And those are the pictures that we have for you. You can see, viewers, that it looks like a very, very serious crash. Plane with 188 people crashes. We will also try to understand whether there have been any fatalities. Unfortunately, let's see whether unfortunately, some people have lost their lives. We will try to get more updates on that once we connect to our correspondents. This is the Jeju airplane carrying around 175 passengers. And this plane drove off the runway and crashed into a wall at airport in South Korea. We will try to get more updates on that. And you can see that there's huge, plumes of smoke really coming out. It's a very serious crash that took place. Okay, that is the picture, the actual video showing you the moment the crash happened. So in that video, viewers, you can see that this plane was on the runway, but then it moved off. It went to the right. That means it moved off the runway and crashed into a wall and burst into flames. I want to go across to Deepak, joining us from our Republic newsroom. Deepak, this looks like a very serious accident. Now we see that still rescue and relief operations have been continuing. There's also a question mark on the fatalities. If you could take our viewers through the latest updates that we're learning of, Deepak.
Right, Shivangi, this comes close on the heels of a plane crash that was reported in Azerbaijan as well, because that plane crash as well resulted in the death of dozens of people. And this one also coming close on the heels has, taken the international community by a shock, because the South Korean media reports are suggesting that 28 out of the 175 members who were present on board that particular plane have lost their lives. And the South Korean media reported that 28 people have been confirmed dead after a plane caught fire at the airport during landing. So while the plane was landing, there was a malfunction in the landing gear which resulted in the plane veering off the runway and then bursting into flames. So right now, as we speak, Shivangi, firefighters are at the scene trying to pull out survivors from the crash site. And what we know so far is that South Korea's emergency office said that the fire was put out and rescue officials are trying to remove passengers from the Jeju passenger plane at the airport in the South Korean city of Muan. And the South Korea's emergency officials have also said that the plane with about 180 people was returning from Bangkok when this particular mishap happened at the time of landing. Now, Yonhap also reported that 28 deaths were reported, but the emergency office could not immediately confirm the casualty figure. And the South Korean media outlets have also carried that 28 people are likely to be feared dead. And the local media reports have also suggested that the plane had about 175 passengers along with 77 crew members on board that plane. And while the plane was landing at the Muan International Airport, there was a malfunction in the landing gear which resulted in the plane veering off the runway. And the pilot, who lost control upon landing, crashed the plane and it burst into a fireball, resulting in the death of at least 28 people. This is what we know so far.
Also being joined by Wing Commander Praful Bakshi, who's a defense expert, joining us on this. Wing Commander Praful Bakshi, you can see that those pictures on a screen where you see this plane, it's on the runway, then it veers off the runway, crashes into a wall, bursts into flames. Just want a perspective from you on what do you think really went wrong, because it looks extremely dangerous and extremely fatal what just happened on our screens there.
Yes, Shivangi. If you can see carefully, the main undercarriages have not deployed properly. The aircraft they are actually folded inside, and the weight is coming onto the belly. So it is partial belly landing, which the aircraft is doing. The little weight is on the hydraulics, on the wheel, but wheel is folded in, and that's why the belly is touching. Why? Because there is a malfunction on the undercarriage system. It means the brakes are not available to the pilot. If the brakes are not available, the aircraft is now, and the pilot controls the aircraft when the speed slows down with the brakes, and the brake is not there. So when he is going off the runway, he cannot control himself. And that is what is happening now. He goes off the runway, hits the wall, and that is why this is happening. So unfortunately, this emergency is quite common. Hydraulic failure can take place. But this is perhaps one of the rare incidents where the partial lowering of the undercarriage or the undercarriage has not lowered properly has taken place. It is a serious emergency which has taken place, and nothing much can be done. Previously, the transport passenger aircraft used to have a tail chute, but somehow or other, the civil aviation authorities have done away with the tail chute. If you remember, you won't remember it, there was an jet aircraft called Caravel. Caravel used to have a tail chute, so that tail chute also works in place of brakes if the brakes are not there. If that was there in this aircraft, then it would not have hit the wall at all. This is what I would like to say. I had brought this point earlier in the Mangalore crash also, which took place, a tabletop crash. But the question is, it is too costly to put the tail chute and the manpower, etc. So that is why that flight safety aspect has been ignored. So this aspect, as you see, you can see the scene. He is now landing. His undercarriage are folded. His belly is touching. The belly is getting friction. There is a fuel on the wings. The fuel is going to catch fire. I hope it did not catch fire that seriously, because a lot of people have survived. So it means that still that we are sorry for the 29 people or how many they have lost lives. But pilot has done quite a wonderful job, that he has carried out the landing successfully, though it went off the runway, which he could not help. So, my serious concerns are for the flight safety, and history of the aircraft should be checked in.
Yeah.
And if the problems have been recurring...
Yes, Wing Commander. I just want to bring in my colleague as well, Deepak, who's joining us from the Republic Newsroom. And Deepak would also like to take a question from you. Also, we're telling our viewers once more that 170 passengers were on board this plane. So this is a very serious crash which has taken place. Go ahead, Deepak.
Wing Commander, a very good morning to you. First of all, you were an ex-fighter pilot. You know, during such situation, what are the options that the pilot really has? Because the tail chute is absent, because the civil aviation, like you mentioned, the things that it requires a lot of manpower, and it causes a lot of disturbance as well on the runway if there is a mishap with the chute. So what are the options that a pilot has, you know, during such tense moments?
Thank you very much. I'm afraid a pilot has his first concern is to land the aircraft straight on a surface which is devoid of any obstructions. This is the runway available. Suppose the runways are not available. For some reason, he has to land in the field or land in the river, as you had seen in America, that incident in Potomac River, this happened. This can happen. So pilot's concern is to now use his skill and experience to the best advantage of the passengers and the aviation. And that's what he must have done, and that's what the pilot has done. He has to land, bring the landing configuration absolutely perfect, touchdown. There is a technique to touchdown when there is it's a belly landing, and generally belly landing is more successful on a soft ground. If the ATC had foam which they spread on the runway, then the aircraft lands on the foam. That is what is there. And some airfields, some countries have even experimented with the arrestor net, which they have a huge net in such cases to stop the aircraft, even if it is a heavy aircraft. But I don't think though that it is very common. But like an Air Force aircraft, when the fighter aircraft lands, there is a arrestor barrier which is raised. So if the aircraft cannot stop, it goes and gets caught in the net. It's like you can imagine a volleyball net, exactly like that. It is there. So this is what a pilot does. Pilot has to make sure the aircraft is straight, but to the best of his ability, because rudder controls are ineffective at low speeds. So he has only brakes. Both the brakes he has, the differential braking system to stop. Like the tank moves on the ground. Exactly, it's like it happens. So I'm sorry about this incident. It looks bad, but question is, pilot has still done his job, so he is saved. But the fire is there, which could not be avoided.
All right, thank you for joining us there, Wing Commander Praful Bakshi and my colleague Deepak, who was joining us.